She had the entire world dancing to her beat. One song turned her into a global phenomenon, breaking records, topping charts, and making her the new face of Afrobeats. Tyla wasn't just South Africa's rising star, she was crowned the next global pop princess. But here's the twist. Within months, the same internet that made her famous was tearing her down, piece by piece. What went wrong? How does someone go from being celebrated as a once-in-a-generation artist to being labeled entitled, misunderstood, and even an industry plant? Today, we're diving into the rise and the backlash of Tyla. Because her story isn't just about fame, it's about how fast the internet can flip, how cultural identity can get lost in translation, and how one wrong move in front of millions can change everything. So, let's break it down. How did the internet's favorite rising star turn into a cautionary tale almost overnight? When Water dropped, it wasn't just another viral TikTok track, it was a tidal wave. The single stormed through playlists, dominated dance challenges, and shot straight to the top of global charts. In the US, it cracked the Billboard Global 200's top 10 and even went triple platinum. Across the world, audiences couldn't escape the rhythm, the moves, or Tyla's magnetic presence. But this wasn't just about numbers, it was about pride. Tyla wasn't chasing an Americanized sound or watering down her roots. She brought her unapologetically South African style to the world stage, Afrobeats fused with amapiano, the township dance moves, the rhythms that echoed her culture. For millions of fans back home, it was a historic moment, a South African artist born and raised in Africa, conquering the global charts without compromise. The industry took notice fast. Glossy magazine covers, whispers of Grammy nominations, performances on stages she once only dreamed of. The narrative was simple. Tyla was the next global pop princess, Africa's newest cultural export, and possibly the face of a new musical era. But here's the thing about meteoric rises, when you shoot up that fast, there's always turbulence waiting on the way down. And for Tyla, the turbulence hit sooner than anyone expected. But just as Tyla's star was burning brightest, a single resurfaced TikTok flipped the narrative. In the clip, Tyla casually identifies herself as a colored South African. Now, pause. In South Africa, that's not a slur. It's an official identity category, a complex cultural heritage rooted in history, community, and lived experience. For millions there, it's a marker of belonging. But the internet isn't always fluent in cultural nuance. And in the US, the word color drips with painful history, segregation signs, Jim Crow laws, and generations of systemic oppression. To many American listeners, it wasn't heritage, it was hate speech. The clash of meanings ignited instantly. Hashtags flooded timelines. Think pieces rolled out. Some accused Tyla of ignorance or insensitivity. Others defended her fiercely, explaining the South African context. But nuance rarely survives on social media. The louder voices were the angriest ones. Overnight, the internet's rising star had become the internet's latest battleground. By December 2023, the controversy wasn't fading, it was growing. Every day of silence only amplified the backlash. Fans begged for clarity. Critics sharpened their attacks. And Tyla? She stayed quiet. When she finally addressed it months later, in an April 2024 Cosmopolitan interview, the attempt at damage control backfired. Instead of bridging the gap, her explanations felt vague, almost rehearsed, leaving both supporters and critics unsatisfied. The narrative shifted from misunderstood star to why can't she just own it? Then came June 2024, The Breakfast Club. The moment that would define the controversy. When asked directly about her identity, Tyla froze. Seconds dragged on like hours. The silence was deafening, not just awkward, but career-altering. Clips of that pause exploded online. Memes, reaction videos, endless debates. For many, it became the symbol of an artist unprepared to handle the very spotlight she'd fought so hard to reach. What should have been a minor cultural misunderstanding had now snowballed into a full-blown PR disaster. If the Breakfast Club silence cracked her image, the MTV VMAs of 2024 nearly shattered it. Tyla had just made history, winning a major international award. It should have been a moment of triumph, the kind of clip that cements a legacy. Instead, it turned into controversy. On stage, she refused to even hold her own trophy. Cameras caught her awkwardly trying to hand it off, brushing it aside like it didn't matter. To her defenders, it looked like nerves or discomfort. But to millions watching, it looked entitled, dismissive of the honor so many artists dream about. The internet didn't wait. Tweets branded her as ungrateful and arrogant. Comment sections filled with accusations of attitude problems. Instead of cooling the fire, Tyla clapped back online, short, defensive replies that only poured gasoline on the flames. What should have been her coronation became her crucifixion. Behind the glossy visuals and viral dances, whispers started circulating. Was Tyla too polished to be real? Unlike most breakout stars, she didn't claw her way up through late-night gigs or gritty local shows. There were no basement performances, no mixtape hustle, no years of slowly building a fan base. She launched fully packaged, perfect lighting, flawless choreography, and an instantly viral single. And yet, the numbers didn't quite match the hype. Her debut album's first-week sales were underwhelming. The North American tour was abruptly canceled, officially blamed on injury, but skeptics smelled something else: weak ticket sales. On social media, theories took off. Was Tyla an industry plant, a carefully manufactured artist designed to dominate charts without paying her dues? Every perfectly curated photo, every high-budget music video, every timed collaboration fueled the suspicion. For many, the line between talent and strategy blurred. And once the idea stuck, it was nearly impossible to shake. Even on stage, Tyla couldn't escape scrutiny. During a high-profile performance with Usher, the interaction that should have been legendary felt off. As the music pulsed and the cameras rolled, Tyla's subtle shift away from Usher's lead didn't go unnoticed. Fans dissected every second, body language experts chimed in, social media erupted. To many, it wasn't just a misstep, it was a statement. Ungrateful. Disconnected. Above it all. Offstage, the pattern repeated. Social media clapbacks, dismissive replies, and defensive posts created a growing chasm between Tyla and her audience. While South African fans rallied to explain the cultural context, defend her identity, and praise her artistry, the US fan base only grew colder. What had started as admiration for her music became a debate over her personality. The same charm that had fueled her rise now fueled her downfall. And in the global spotlight, perception is reality. The question was no longer whether she could perform, it was whether anyone could actually connect with her. Just when it seemed Tyla might catch a break, 2025 brought new drama. Two of the producers behind Water filed a lawsuit, claiming they were cut out of royalties and proper credits. What had been her defining hit suddenly became a legal minefield, tying her name to controversy instead of triumph. The ongoing court battle cast a long shadow over her career. Every press release, every performance, every new drop was now framed by the question, how messy is this going to get next? And the music itself wasn't immune. For new songs released that year, only one made a dent on the US charts, a collaboration that barely registered. Despite big-name features and high-production videos, the American audience had moved on. Viral dances and flashy visuals weren't enough to erase the narrative of a manufactured, misunderstood star. The message was clear: talent alone couldn't carry her. Without audience trust, without a clear connection to fans, even global hype couldn't sustain her momentum. The cracks in Tyla's carefully crafted image began showing everywhere. Clips of live performances surfaced online, revealing stiff choreography, lackluster energy, and vocals that didn't match the perfection of her studio recordings. Fans who had spent money on tickets voiced disappointment, and the internet was merciless. Every misstep amplified, every stumble turned into a viral moment. Behind the scenes, whispers grew louder. Label insiders reportedly questioned the return on investment. Sponsorships that had once lined up eagerly now hesitated. Deals stalled, and some quietly backed out. The machine that had pushed Tyla to global stardom was suddenly slowing down. Meanwhile, attempts to pivot her style, from Afrobeats to R&B to pop rap, only deepened the confusion. Fans weren't sure who she was anymore. Was she chasing trends? Reinventing herself? Or just trying to fix a public image that was already cracking? Every misalignment, every forced collaboration, every strategic tweak added another layer to the perception. Tyla was struggling to keep up with the stardom she had been thrust into. And the world was watching, ready to judge. Tyla's journey is now a study in contrasts. From global sensation to a lightning rod for debate, her story has been dissected on every platform. Some call her an industry plant, carefully manufactured and overhyped. Others insist she's simply misunderstood, a talented artist navigating the impossible pressures of international stardom. What started as a celebration of her music and culture has evolved into a narrative dominated by image management, missteps, and cultural miscommunication. The focus has shifted from her undeniable talent to every perceived flaw, every awkward pause, every defensive social media post. And now the question looms large. Can Tyla reinvent herself? Can she rise above the controversies, prove her artistry, and reconnect with audiences? Or has the US market already moved on, leaving her as a cautionary tale of fame that burned too bright, too fast? For now, her story serves as a stark reminder. In today's global spotlight, talent can ignite a career, but perception, timing, and connection determine whether that flame endures. Fame can catapult you to the top, but without authenticity, it can vanish just as fast. Tyla's journey reminds us that viral hits and glossy visuals aren't enough. Connection, clarity, and trust with your audience matter just as much as talent. So here's the question for you. Is Tyla a misunderstood artist, navigating cultural complexity and global expectations? Or is she a manufactured star, carefully polished, but lacking the grit fans crave? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the world of music, fame, and culture.